You'd be forgiven for assuming that he was just your average wannabe SoundCloud rapper, and that's, well, because that's what he was. So how does this Lil Pump wannabe end up committing triple murder and having some of the most notorious courtroom dates ever? Let's have a look. Born on the 9th of August 1990, Brice Rhodes was, well, always problematic. He had past criminal convictions including domestic violence charges, intimidation, armed robbery, as well as criminal confinement of a victim less than 18 years old. This landed him on the Indiana sex offender register. Rhodes was on probation for domestic assault incidents in 2013 and 2014. One incident in which his mother alleges that he grabbed her by the neck and punched her in the temple as she attempted to unload groceries, resulting in his sister calling the police and Rhodes being subsequently charged. A real good way to treat your mum. Rhodes, like the vast majority of teenagers nowadays, had dreams of becoming a rapper, and I'm not even going to bother bleeding your ears by making you listen to that, but if you want to put yourself through some pain, then they're easily found enough online. It was through posting these videos portraying a famous fake gangster persona that he met two brothers who were fans of his. Larry Ordway, just 14, and Maurice Gordon, 16, came across Rhodes' YouTube videos. They too were living in Louisville, just like Rhodes. The two brothers idolised Rhodes. They looked up to the famous gangster lifestyle he was leading. They wanted a part of it, and Rhodes sold them a fantasy of becoming famous, according to the teens' relatives. Rhodes would buy them food, clothes, and drove them around in a car, in a way to brainwash the teens. They even appeared in Rambo's music videos, holding up guns. You could tell he'd really sold them on this fake lifestyle. They were in his trap. The brothers were out with Rhodes driving around with the stick, all was normal. They were used to it. That was the lifestyle. Suddenly, the lifestyle became a little too real. While cruising around, Rhodes and co came across Christopher Jones, 40, in the middle of the street. Rhodes hopped out with the car, then shoots Jones, dead in the street, in front of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon, which terrified them. They, however, weren't the only ones with Rhodes that night. Rhodes had another two teens with him, 15-year-old Anwan Carter and 17-year-old Zachary Taylor. Real gangster. They'd all just witnessed a man get killed in cold blood. They were witnesses, and as far as Rhodes was concerned, any sign of being scared was a problem. He couldn't have anyone around that would have the potential to snitch and report the murder. As far as a motive for the murder of Christopher Jones, Rhodes believed that he had a price on his head and believed he was claiming it, meaning he was the target of a contract killing. 2 weeks have now passed since the murder of Christopher Jones. It's still unsolved at this point. No one has said a thing. Rhodes, along with Carter and Taylor, picked up Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon from their mother's home in the Beach Mountain neighbourhood, like usual, on the evening of Saturday, May the 21st. They would never be seen alive again. The bodies of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon were found a day later, on the 22nd of May 2016. They lay dead, dumped and set on fire in the backyard of an abandoned house in the 4000 block of River Park Drive. It was clear who their prime suspect was, and they wasted no time on getting to Brice Rhodes. Rhodes was arrested on outstanding warrants.
Rhodes sat in the interview room at the Louisville Metro Police Department for hours, talking with detectives about the brothers.
Did you hang out with them on a regular basis?
They was cool. Yeah, we hung out different times, different times.
You close with these kids at all?
They're cool. We play basketball. I'm cool with a lot of people.
We are looking for two missing kids, and we don't know. We heard you might know where they might be, a Louisville Metro Police detective said while questioning Rhodes. You close to these kids at all? They cool, Rhodes responded. We play basketball. I'm cool with a lot of people. Wish I could help. Knew where they was, Rhodes told the detective. The next day, police brought in Zachary Taylor, one of the teens who was with Rhodes that night. Okay, let me ask you a question, the detective said. If I knew, I would tell you everything. I don't know nothing. This is killing me, Taylor said. Taylor said he was friends with the brothers and denied helping Rhodes carry out the crime. Rhodes and then 17-year-old Zachary Taylor both denied that they killed brothers Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon in May during their interrogation videos. Next to be interviewed by police was then 15-year-old Anwan Carter.
But 15-year-old Anwan Carter didn't stop talking. He said he and 18-year-old Ja'Cory Taylor were in Brice's apartment when the murders took place.
He made Maurice on his knees and beg for forgiveness. And he put a toboggan over his head, and he put a rag in his mouth, and then he stabbed him.
Carter describes a similar scene for Maurice's brother.
We moved Maurice to the side, and we brought his brother, and we put the toboggan over his head. He put the toboggan over his head and put the sock in his mouth. And started stabbing him too.
Carter says he and Taylor were forced to be involved in the killing.
He made us stab him.
He made y'all stab him? So you and Corey stabbed him too? All right. How many times do you think you stabbed him?
I stabbed him one time.
You're a 15-year-old kid who got wrapped up in something that you shouldn't have gotten wrapped up in, LMPD Homicide Sergeant John Lesher told him. Carter gave in, telling police the brothers stole money from Rhodes because the teens ate food just every 2 days. He later told detectives the teens had also been witness to another murder that Rhodes committed, Christopher Jones.
And they seen somebody just walking down the street, and they said Rambo, so I got the street and shot him. And Brice, he was a getaway driver, so he was driving.
He said they were all over at Rhodes' apartment when the murders occurred, and he witnessed Rhodes kill the two brothers, starting with Gordon. The teens then described Rhodes tying the brothers up. He put a toboggan over his head and a rag in his mouth and then stabbed him repeatedly, Carter said. He had Maurice on his knees and begged for forgiveness. Carter then told Lesher Rhodes made him stab one of the victims and he made Taylor stab the other victim. The teen said once they were dead, he and Taylor stayed behind to clean up the apartment. He said Rhodes took the bodies in totes and seemed to brag about how he disposed of them. He sat there and watched them burn, Carter said. They'd been beaten and stabbed to death and then burned by Rhodes. 2 days after the bodies were found, Rhodes' car was spotted by police on Preston Highway, Louisville. He was then arrested on an outstanding warrant stemming from a domestic abuse case out of Indiana. This gave detectives the chance to gather more evidence while he was off the streets. Police searched the apartment that Rhodes shared with his mother on Height Avenue in Clifton Heights, which in turn produced a fountain of evidence. Despite the apartment being extensively cleaned with bleach, police were still able to find blood. It was clear that what Carter had told them was indeed the truth. However, this wasn't the whole truth. The police kept a huge secret from the public, the involvement of a fourth person, Tyrone Coleman, then 19. It was only when he was indicted on November 22nd on 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of abuse of a corpse and 1 count of helping tamper with physical evidence that it was made aware. Tyrone Coleman was sentenced for facilitation to murder, tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse in the deaths of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon in May of 2016. Coleman's attorney requested probation. The judge denied that request. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Carter pled guilty to 3 counts of criminal facilitation to murder and 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. He accepted a plea deal. In the plea agreement, the Commonwealth Attorney's Office recommended a sentence of 10 years if he is sentenced to serve it in prison or 20 years if granted probation. Ja'Cory Taylor has been ordered to serve 10 years in prison without the possibility of probation. Taylor took a plea deal in which he agreed to testify against Rhodes for a smaller 10-year sentence. This received backlash from Rhodes, who threatened him not to testify against him, sending him a jailhouse note reading, "Rats get exposed." And here it is, the one you've all been waiting for. Brice Rhodes was brought before a judge in Jefferson County District Court on Wednesday, the 25th of May, 2016. Alongside private attorney Brendan McLeod, he pleaded not guilty and was jailed on a $1 million cash bond. 5 days later, McLeod recused himself from the case, stating he had a conflict of interest as he knew Rhodes' mother. This in turn angered Rhodes, who spat on McLeod. This would be the first of Rhodes' now infamous courtroom antics. Rhodes' behaviour in his previous hearing would see that rare precautions would be taken for his next preliminary hearing. His wrists and ankles were strapped in a restraint chair and his face covered with a spit mask, resembling Hannibal Lecter somewhat. This resulted in Rhodes repeatedly threatening to find and kill a judge and her family. "What, you don't think we can't find where you live at? I don't give a fuck. You got family, I'll be out." This landed Rhodes some more legal charges of terroristic threatening and intimidating a participant in the legal process, like he needed any more charges under his belt.
You've been charged in the 4th degree. I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to have to see you back here for this.
What you think where you live at? What you think at? None of that. I don't do.
So you're saying you're going to find out where I'm out?
None of that. You got family, I'll be out.
Okay.
He has also attacked other inmates at Metro Corrections, threatening to kill the victim like he did the others. He also spat on another inmate and threw piss on an officer through the crack in his cell door. Nice. I would really like to be in a prison cell with him. Rhodes' next outburst in court would involve him branding the judge a racist and accusing him of being in the KKK, and that he, the judge, was fucking the prosecutor. You couldn't write this shit.
Even though you show favoritism to the Commonwealth, you denied every motion I've ever filed in this courtroom. I'm still gonna, it's my right to file a pro se motion, and it's my right to speak what I need to speak on.
Well,
I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on, or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely gonna speak my mind.
Detective Detelli and I have no sexual relationship.
Now I'm talking about you and a prosecutor over here, sir.
All right.
You denied all my motions. Every motion I filed, you didn't deny it.
I'm pretty sure I've denied the vast
Every
majority
motion I
of pro
filed?
se motions that have ever been
Are you some
filed.
type of racist? Are y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on? Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything that you've made a motion for?
Are you a secret Ku Klux Klan member?
No, sir, I'm not.
Is that what you really are?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm not.
But like I said, the higher courts, they'll deal with it when time comes necessary.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And
So say less.
All of this fuckery and kerfuffle has meant that Brice Rhodes has not yet officially been sentenced for his crimes. However, it's worth noting prosecutors are going after the death penalty. That wraps up the case of Brice Rhodes. I'm sure he'll get sentenced sooner or later when he decides to be a good boy in the courtroom, even though no sentence really makes up for the crimes that he's committed. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any suggestions or cases that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.